Welcome back to another episode of the Ask the Color Expert podcast. I am way overdue to have my color done, and I thought it was the perfect opportunity to talk about transitioning your clients into a dimensional gray blending service versus continually chasing after their regrowth. So I am 58 years old. I was blessed to not have very much gray until maybe the last 10 years. So I was very lucky. I consider myself a blonde, even though I am no longer naturally a blonde. I'm more of a natural level 5 with at least 50% gray. So the way that I teach in my inner circle, the Hair Color Secrets Insider, is using a demi color as much as you possibly can in order to not disturb the remaining pigment contribution, otherwise known as RPC. I talk about it a lot in my program. And if you're a hairstylist who's been struggling with your blonding clients, I see you, I hear you, I get you. It is really hard to avoid warmth. So I started about probably 15 years ago transitioning my clients that are like me before I was like that had 50% or less gray, natural levels in, 5, 6, whatever level. They want to be a blonde, but they don't want all that orange, blarange, that weird chicken fat yellow grossness that comes from trying to create a single process on someone that is deeper than, in my opinion, a level 7. So for years, my dear friend Ian McCabe, who's an amazing colorist, I talk about him all the time on the podcast and in my coffee chats. We were at a hair show together, and I was complaining about my color, and I'm like, I'm so tired of doing my roots, and it makes my regrowth so much darker, and then I don't feel like a blonde, and then I feel like I need highlights, and I was going around and around and around, and I'm seeing that a lot in a lot of the social media forums where stylists are frustrated with the same thing. So the last year, I started stretching my appointments. I stopped doing my regrowth at all. I'm letting my gray come in. If you are curious what I look like and you want a visual on this podcast, head over to my YouTube where the video is also on there and you can check it out. So I wanted to share all the real raw deal here. This is all my beautiful silver that I am starting to be blessed with, which I am loving. However, my prior blonde is lingering down here on the mids and ends, and the gray is starting to get super, super, everything's starting to look super, super ashy. So I never intended to be a silver fox. My intention with stopping doing my regrowth was not, I am not transitioning to silver, and a lot of your clients are not going to want to fully transition to silver. What I'm loving about this color, and when I tell you, I have gotten more compliments on my color during this transition than I've ever gotten in my entire life. And that is zero exaggeration. Every supermarket, I just went to the eye doctor today to get check up on my eyes. 20/20 perfect vision, by the way, refractive lens replacement, life-changing. Reach out if you're tired of glasses. I got a perfect score. The thing that I read on the card was, my eyesight is better than Superman. It was the teeny tiny letters at the bottom, and I saw that with no glasses. ADHD moment. So back to my hair color. When I checked in at the doctor's office, the woman at the desk said, "Your hair color is gorgeous." I said, "Thank you so much." Sat in the waiting area. The girl that came out to get me said, "Your hair color is gorgeous." I said, "Thank you very much." In the meantime, I am texting Johnny saying, "You need to get me in. I can't stand to look at myself." So it's amazing how we perceive ourselves versus how other people see us. I did tell my husband and my kids, I said, if you guys see that I've taken this too far and I'm getting too spoiled with not having to do anything to my color was last done in April. Today is July. What is today? July 18th. So since April, I've done nothing. And again, I'm getting more compliments than ever. I'm going to dig through here and show you how much gray I really have in here. I'm fortunate where the gray is kind of hidden on the other side of my part, but there is a lot in here. So I was pulling into the driveway coming from Pilates the other day, and my son was here, and I had my hair totally up, which I never do, like all the way up like this, everything up in a samurai ponytail because I do the Pilates reformer and my hair bun hits the machine and drives me crazy. So I had it totally up off my face, which I never do. And my son was here visiting, and he saw this lady, as he says, I saw this lady walking up to our house and just like walking in without knocking or ringing the bell. And I was the lady, but he didn't recognize me. And I said, listen, I told you guys, if I go too far into the silver gray world, I want to be told about it. You're not going to hurt my feelings because I see myself differently than other people see me. So while I'm still getting all these compliments, I'm like, I'm good. I'm not doing anything to my color. But when your family, who's the closest to you, says, you told me to tell you when you need your color done and it's time. And I agree. So here's the difference between what I plan to do with this retouch and what most hairstylists will do in this case. So if you're listening on the podcast, again, 50% gray, 50% level 5. So my regrowth, you can see where my foils have grown out. It's about 3 inches from my scalp that they have grown out. I love the placement of the blonde that's in there. I love the amount of the blonde that's in there. 80 to 90% of stylists, if I sat in their chair, which I actually thought about this today. I was driving around and I saw all these out of businesses, businesses that were, local available. And I'm like, do I want to open something here? Do I want to start doing hair? And I quickly talked myself out of it. But what I realized was I haven't even gone to visit any of these salons, and I would like to. I would like to make an appointment at 3 different salons here in St. Pete, Florida, for a color consultation, for homework. I want to hear what questions they ask me. I want to see without me saying anything when I go in with this amount of gray. So I have to do it quickly. Maybe tomorrow I'll just stop in a couple salons and say, hey, my regrowth is in. What do you think? What would you do? I guarantee you I would be shocked if any single one of those salons, me walking in as a consumer, not as a color educator, saying, what would you do? I'm going to hear a lot of, I would do a level 7 retouch with permanent color and retouch your highlights and glaze everything. That's what I'm going to hear. I'm not going to hear what I would do. So the beauty of my friendship with Johnny is at Always Gossip Salon here in Florida. He is a member in my group and he is a dear, dear friend, and he's amazing. He's so patient with me. Johnny lets me be the control freak that I am, card carrying control freak. And I literally take the tail comb and I save him from himself because I shouldn't say most colorists that I've sat in their chair want to overfoil me. I have super fine hair. So I love the ribbon effect. I love a ribbony highlight with dimension, and I want to keep that. So if you go in all willy-nilly and just start to foil me, whatever the next piece is, I'm going to get overly highlighted. So I literally take the comb and I pick up the pieces where I see, again, if you're on YouTube, you're going to like this a lot better than the podcast, but where I see the blonde needs to be reconnected on the pieces that are already there, those are the pieces that I pick up. When I tell you the retouch that I need right now, I told Johnny on the phone, is literally 4 to 5 foils is all I need. I'm not looking for a complete overhaul, complete corrective situation. I love my color. I love what the universe, God has given me as the silver, and I love the blonde mixed in. For the first time in my entire life, I don't have dark roots and visible blonde regrowth. I don't have that because the silver is so close to the shade that my blonde is that it really doesn't look bad. Like I could go to a wedding right now and not be embarrassed. For me, other people might be embarrassed, but if I put beach girls in here and really zhuzh it up and make it nice and full, it just looks like a really cool icy blonde, which is what I've wanted forever. And I couldn't have before the gray entered the party. So as much as we cringe, when we get those first couple grays and we fight them for all those years, at this stage of my life at 58 years old, I think it's more normal for me to have some gray in my hair than to not. I go to, these functions with my mom when I'm home in PA visiting, and all the ladies around her are 75 to 85. And a good percentage of them are still fighting the fight and they're getting that every 4-week retouch, but they're going in with a level 4 or 5 or even a 6. And it looks very wig-like to me and very artificial. And the age that they are, their skin has changed as well. So it just isn't as attractive, in my opinion, of a look that they could possibly have. Last time I was home, when I got my color done last time, I begged my mom to let me make her natural gray. Her gray is white. It's going to be gorgeous. She has pink in her skin. She has beautiful blue eyes. My eyes, I did not get eyes as blue as hers. I have blue eyes, but she has my grandpa's eyes and they're gorgeous. And with that white hair and that pink skin, awesome. But instead, she makes her appointment every 4 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks, gets her regrowth done, gets highlights every other time, and it makes her happy. She's like, I am coloring it until you put me in the box and take me to the dirt nap. So that makes her happy. That's not for me right now. I mean, I could change my mind. You could listen to my podcast 2 years from now, and I could be saying, what was I thinking doing that gray transition? My point is, have that suggestion for your clients. Add that into your wheelhouse of opportunities for lower maintenance for your guests. What we've seen happen in the last few years is the pricing of hair color has gotten really, really expensive. For me, not being in a salon and being able to just jump in somebody's chair, for me, it was an issue. When I first moved here to Florida, I had nobody to do my color. I was driving to Sarasota, an hour from me, and I was paying $450 just for color. No cut, nothing else, just color. And I was like, oof, that hurts when you're a stylist and you're used to just sitting in one of the chairs in your salon and getting them to do your color. But it made me look at it from a different perspective of the consumer, of what am I willing to pay? What do I think is fair when it comes to my hair color? I had to get it done when I was going to her at the 450 a pop. I had to get it done. I'd say I was there every 8 to 10 weeks. So 8 to 10 weeks times 450 is a lot of expense, a lot of driving, a lot of gas, a lot of everything. And I'm just loving this going longer in between. I'm loving that if I pull my hair back, it almost looks like it's highlighted with the gray because the gray is so sporadic. I feel blessed with the gray pattern. And speaking of gray patterns, are you paying attention to your client's gray patterns? Are you seeing that a client has gray and immediately reaching for a neutral in your color cabinet and just addressing the gray and not really paying attention to what percentage of the natural is still in the hair? Because the natural hair is going to react completely differently to that 7N or 6N or whatever you picked up than the gray is. So stop only paying attention to the gray. You have to pay attention to the gray and the natural. Something I discovered in a special program I'm in right now that I'm teaching, I'm calling it summer school. It's like special tutoring for my inner circle group. Inner circle is like 350 members. We meet once a month on Zoom. People get shy. They don't want to ask questions. They want to sit back and kind of lurk and not really participate. Excuse me. Summer school is an opportunity for them to get me in a room with only 10 stylists and me every single week for 10 weeks. I have enjoyed this so much. I have gotten to know these members better. I have seen that the biggest struggle that they're having, we're talking about colorists who've been coloring hair for over 30 years. The biggest struggle and the reason that they found me and signed up for my program is because they are underestimating or grossly overestimating the percentage of gray. They are missing the mark on the natural level, exaggerating the depth of color and under exaggerating the lift of color, if that makes sense. So they're taking blondes off at a level 8, thinking it's a 9. They're checking out the natural level with my level finder. They're holding it up to the hair and, they're putting it in the hair and they're saying, oh, it's, a level 6 when it's really a 4 or a 5 when it's really a 7 or vice versa. They're not getting it right. And not getting the natural level right or the percentage of gray right. I always say the analogy is imagine getting in your car and your GPS doesn't have a way to find out where your start position is. It doesn't know where you're starting and you put in an address. it's going to spin and spin and spin because it's like, well, where are you? Tell me where you are first so I can tell you how to get to your destination. If you undershoot the percentage of gray, you're going to put maybe too much cool into your formula to combat the warmth in lifting the natural hair, or you're going to overshoot the amount of neutral that you need and make the hair brassy that's not gray. So if this is relating to you on any level and you are not in my inner circle, please reach out. You can email me, Elaine, Elaine, at expertcolorsolutions.com. I have individual classes. I have a program called Hair Color Formulation Simplified that is very popular. I've gotten so many love notes and amazing testimonials saying, this, where have you been my whole life? This is so simple. I share a basic math equation that changes the game and formulation for the rest of your time behind the chair. Very simple third grade level math that says, if your client is this and wants to be this, you do this, and this is what you use, and it never fails, ever. It was the best thing that I ever learned in my career. I learned it when I was 19 years old at my very first hair color show, and I am thrilled to share it with anyone who will listen to me. So if you're still struggling with formulation, if you're like, what the heck is this damn color wheel? And why do I have to know that green cancels red and, blue cancels this and blah, 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 blah. If you're like, F the color wheel, which I was in beauty school, I'm like, I don't get it. I'm not paying attention to it. I'm just going to figure it out. I never quite figured it out without more education. So I hope to hear from you. My website is expertcolorsolutions with an S.com. If you're looking for the most amazing in-person event that is going to make you feel welcome with open arms, it's intimate. We're going to have, 50 stylists in a room for 2 days. We're going to learn about financial planning, how to set yourself up for a wonderful retirement, because it comes up quick, guys. And let me tell you, I'm not able to retire yet and I'm 58. How to transition away from the chair if you're an owner and you're overwhelmed, how to train your assistants, how to protect your energy behind the chair, how to communicate better, emotional intelligence, thinning hair. People are suffering from hair loss, from weight loss, from the pandemic, all the things. It's totally different than any hair event that you've been to, and I highly, highly recommend it. You're going to meet friends that you're going to have for the rest of your life at this intimate gathering. It is not your typical hair show where people are going to bang into you with their little rolling carts, buying a million different hairsprays and brushes. This is about community, about connection, about being in person and getting to know other stylists that live the life that you live and understand you and get you. And I am so proud to be the host, and I have amazing educators joining me. So if you want more information about that as well, please reach out. We would love to have you. We only have, as of today, 10 spots left. So we're really excited to meet all of you, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks for listening to the podcast, and I will see you on the next one.